Hey everybody, Cougar here with an updated beginner's quick start guide for the amazing underwater survival game Subnautica. The game's coming out of early access in just a few days, and new players sometimes have a little trouble figuring out what they want to do when they first get into the game, so this guide will help set you up with some of the important tools and equipment that you can get on day one, maybe into day two. So let's start a new game.
Attention. Hull failure imminent. All personnel abandon ship.
Alright, we start out in our heavily damaged life pod. Before I show you around the life pod, take a look at the gauges in our lower left-hand corner. We've got an oxygen gauge. We start with 45 seconds of oxygen. Crafting an oxygen tank to supplement that is going to be one of our day one priorities. We also have a health gauge, our food gauge, and our water gauge. Note that we start with a half full stomach, so finding some food to shove in our faces is also going to be one of our day one priorities. Show you around the life pod really quickly. Over here we have a medkit fabricator. It starts with a medkit inside. You want to retrieve that immediately. This medkit fabricator will spit out a new medkit every 12 minutes or so. So you want to be checking it often and retrieving those medkits because you can never have too many medkits on Subnautica. It is dangerous out there. If you need to store them, you can store them in this storage container built into the life pod bench. If you open it up, you see that it comes with some basic survival supplies, a couple of flares, some filtered water, and some nutrient food blocks. This is some damaged equipment that we can later use a repair tool to repair. That is not a day one priority. That can wait until day two. This is our fabricator. You will use this to craft and break down basically everything that you can craft in the game at this point, but we'll be using that later, so I'm not going to go into it right now. This is a damaged radio that we can also use a repair tool to repair. It is important to get that repaired because you want to be broadcasting your distress call as soon as you can and also retrieving any messages that come across that radio. But again, that is a day two priority, not something we're going to worry about today. There are two exits from the life pod, one at the bottom, one at the top. You can use either of these to enter or exit the life pod. For now, let's climb up to the top.
The Aurora suffered orbital hull failure. Cause unknown. Zero human life signs detected.
Zero human life signs detected. We're on our own, guys. Let's take a quick scan around the horizon. You see that at this point there is no dry land in sight. So we're going to have to figure out how to survive as a water-based creature. To do that, we are going to need on day one a survival knife, an oxygen tank, and some swim fins. In total, the materials that we're going to need to build those things, in total, 6 pieces of titanium and 3 pieces of silicone rubber. Silicone rubber is obtained from creep vine seeds. I'll show you how to grab some of those in just a second. For now, let's dive in and start retrieving the materials that we're going to need to build our stuff. This is a piece of metal salvage. This will give us 4 pieces of titanium when we use the fabricator to break it down. We'll pick that up. We were also going to talk about getting some food and water. Food, you're going to try to catch any of these small prey fish that you see swimming around. That's a peeper I just picked up. Here's a boomerang fish. If I can catch him, he is also edible.
New creature discovered.
There's a Gary fish. He is also edible.
New creature discovered.
And these are bladder fish. You can use these to create fresh water.
Alien life forms may have unexpected applications. Utilizing alien resources is a proven survival strategy.
Good to know. So we will use this air bladder to make some fresh water. Okay? Over here you'll see one of the very few tutorial messages you're going to get in this game. It's telling you to break this limestone outcropping. Limestone outcroppings will provide you with either titanium or copper. So we have, at this point, 5 pieces of titanium on us. We need 6 to build our starting equipment. So we're keeping an eye out either for another piece of metal salvage lying around or another limestone outcropping that we can break and hope to retrieve either titanium or copper from it. But there's a piece of metal salvage. So now we are fully equipped with all the titanium we're going to need to build our starting equipment.
Oxygen.
We still need silicone rubber. Silicone rubber is obtained from creep vine seeds. So I'm scanning around right now to see if I see any creep vines Not seeing any right now. We're just going to keep swimming in this direction until we see some. You'll know them when you see them. There's another piece of metal salvage. I might as well go ahead and pick that up. Still not seeing any creep vines. I think I might see some off in the distance there, so let's start swimming that way. Yes, I do. You swim faster underwater than you do on the surface, so you want to spend as much time underwater as you can. Here is a creep vine forest. We're going to be able to retrieve some seeds from here. Creep vine forests also where stalkers live. Those are these predator fish that you see right down there. There's one. They are fairly dangerous. You want to give them a wide berth at the start since you have no way to defend yourself until you build yourself a knife. Here are some seeds. That was a stalker. He's chasing that rabbit ray. He's not chasing me. Let's grab some of these seeds. He's chasing me.
New blueprint acquired. Life on this planet grows.
Now, stalkers.
Further study recommended.
Well, that's what we're here to do. We're here to study the life forms. That sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Stalkers are fairly dangerous if they sneak up on you, but you are faster than they are, so if you just swim away from them, you will be able to avoid them. Quickly point out this purple brain coral here is a way to replenish your oxygen supply even while you're underwater. But for now, we have everything we need to build our day one tools and equipment, so let's head back to the life pod and do some crafting. Might as well pick up another bladderfish as long as we're out here. We can use him later on in some crafting, and it never hurts to have more fresh water.
Oxygen.
Alright, we're almost back to the life pod now. The sun will be starting to set soon, but we have everything we need to get off to a good start on day one. Let me just quickly point out, now's not a good time to point it out. Back aboard the life pod, we will use our fabricator, go to resources, basic materials, break down that metal salvage into titanium. We have 3 pieces, so now we have 12 pieces of titanium. Use the creepvine seed clusters to make silicone rubber. Each creepvine seed cluster gives you 2 times silicone rubber. We will need a bunch of that at the start, so let's go ahead and break all that down. Also just a good way to clear up our inventory. Now that we have that broken down, let's go to personal equipment. Use titanium to build an oxygen tank.
New blueprint acquired.
Use 2 pieces of silicone rubber to build some swim fins, help us move around a bit faster.
The fabricator draws from available data to provide environment-appropriate equipment using locally available materials. For your safety, this setting cannot be overridden.
Now finally we go to personal tools and craft a survival knife.
Weapons were removed from standard survival blueprints following the massacre on Abraxas Prime. The knife remains the only exception.
So that's it for lethal weaponry. That's all you're going to get here on Subnautica, for now anyway. The last thing we wanted to do as a day one task was get some food and water. So we'll go to the sustenance, cooked food section, cook a peeper.
The fabricator cooks small organisms while disposing of the skeletal structure, bodily fluids, and internal organs, thus rendering them safe for human consumption. It is common for those accustomed to synthetic foods to be repulsed by eating an animal carcass. Remember that humans survived this way for millennia. You can too.
And that's what we're going to do. The last thing we want to do is go to the water category and use the bladder fish that we picked up to make some filtered water. Alright, that does it. If we go to our PDA, left click on the cooked items to eat them, and drink some filtered water. Alright, so that does it. The sun has set on Subnautica. The sun rises in the north and sets in the south. That's a good way to get your bearings when you first start out before you're able to build a compass. For now, before I let you go, before we wrap up our day one activities, I want to quickly show you around the PDA. So this is the inventory screen. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is the paper doll where equipment will show up, self-equip itself usually. If you look at the tabs at the very top, we have our Blueprints tab. This is an excellent resource. You're out in the world, you're thinking to myself, I know I got to build something, but I forget what ingredients I need to build it. You can open up your PDA, go to the Blueprints tab, and hover over whatever it is you're going to build, and it'll tell you what you need to build it. Here's your beacon manager. At this point, we only have one beacon. It's the built-in beacon on the LifePod. Later, we can build our own beacons and set them down to mark important locations. You can turn beacons on or off here, and you can change their color. Here is our photo manager. We have no screenshots, so we're not seeing anything in here, but one tip, you can find an up-to-date map online, download the JPEG, dump it into your screenshots folder, and you can pull it up here and always have a map on you as you proceed around. Here's your voice logs. You can replay any voice logs you missed if you want to hear them again. Here's your data bank, or encyclopedia as I call it. This is where you can review equipment, tools, and stuff that you have picked up out in the world or scanned in the world. We do not have a scanner yet. That's a day 2 priority, but this is a great place to review stuff that you want additional information on. Alright, so that's it. We have, on day 1, built a survival knife, an oxygen tank, and some swim fins. We also learned how to catch and cook and eat small prey fish and use bladder fish to create fresh water. So that's it for day 1. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I'll be doing more of these. For now, stay safe, stay dry.